When a woman speaks with confidence, every word she utters carries weight, not because of the volume or the complexity of the language, but because it is rooted in an unshakable sense of self. Inner confidence is not loud, it is quiet, precise, and undeniable. It is felt more than it is heard. Men sense this immediately, even in the briefest of conversations, because confidence resonates in the tone, the pauses, and the way words are chosen. High-value women understand that their words are not merely tools of communication, but reflections of their inner world. A woman who knows her worth does not try to impress or over-explain herself. Her sentences are intentional, each one a mirror of clarity, self-respect, and certainty. There is a subtle rhythm to her speech, a cadence that conveys control, awareness, and a sense of stability. It is this rhythm that draws attention and fosters desire, because men are instinctively attracted to what they perceive as grounded, assured, and authentic. Confidence in words is not arrogance, it is presence. It is the quiet understanding that one's thoughts, feelings, and perspectives have value simply by existing. High-value women do not need to demand attention or approval. Their words flow naturally from a space of calm authority, and it is this authenticity that creates a magnetic pull. When a man listens, he does not hear desperation or need. He hears certainty. He feels the energy behind the words, the unwavering belief that the woman speaking is whole, independent, and unshaken by external validation. There is an allure in that kind of speech, an irresistible force that invites admiration without coercion. Confidence does not shout. It whispers, it observes, it invites curiosity. A high-value woman rarely feels the need to fill silence with chatter, because she knows that her presence and her words are already enough. The choice of words itself is a reflection of inner confidence. A high-value woman speaks deliberately, avoiding filler words, hesitation, or over-apologies. She uses language that is precise, intentional, and clear. There is a beauty in her ability to articulate complex thoughts simply, to express herself without the need for embellishment, and to communicate boundaries without aggression. Men are drawn to this because it demonstrates emotional maturity. It shows that she has navigated her own inner world, understands her needs, and respects herself enough to communicate them effectively. When she says something, it is not a question of whether she believes it. It is understood that she stands firmly behind her words. Tone and delivery amplify the impact of confident speech. It is not only what is said, but how it is said. A steady, calm voice exudes self-assuredness. Pauses are deliberate, giving weight to every sentence. There is no need to rush, to fill the air with noise, or to seek validation through repetition. Men instinctively notice this because they are wired to respond to energy as much as content. The measured, intentional pace of a high-value woman's speech communicates strength, presence, and emotional intelligence. It signals that she is in control of herself, her environment, and her interactions. When words are spoken with this kind of rooted confidence, they are unforgettable. Confidence also manifests in the ability to hold space in conversation without domination. High-value women listen as intently as they speak. Their words reflect thoughtfulness rather than reaction. They do not feel compelled to match energy, to argue for attention, or to compete in dialogue. Instead, they contribute meaningfully, adding depth, insight, and perspective. Men are drawn to this because it creates a balance, a dynamic where conversation becomes engaging rather than exhausting. The confident woman allows dialogue to flow naturally, knowing that her voice matters, and that it will be heard and respected without force. Furthermore, confident words communicate authenticity. There is no need for pretension, for saying what others want to hear, or for adjusting oneself to fit expectations. A high-value woman speaks her truth even when it is uncomfortable, even when it risks challenge or disagreement. This authenticity is magnetic because it signals integrity and courage. Men feel it in the subtle inflections, the honesty of expression, and the lack of hesitation to express opinion or perspective. Confidence in words is inseparable from a deep understanding of oneself, from a clarity about values, boundaries, and desires. When a woman embodies this clarity, her speech carries authority, not through dominance but through resonance. Inner confidence also shows in the absence of neediness. Words spoken from a place of need, uncertainty, or insecurity carry a vibration that repels attraction rather than cultivates it. High-value women, by contrast, speak without need, without anxiety over approval or outcomes. There is freedom in this detachment, and men respond instinctively to it. They are drawn to the mystery, the stability, and the security that such words convey. Each phrase becomes a reflection of independence, self-reliance, and inner strength, creating an emotional pull that is difficult to resist. Even when discussing emotions, desires, or vulnerability, confident words carry strength. A high-value woman may express longing, sadness, or affection, but she does so without losing her center. Her words are framed with dignity, ensuring that her emotional expression does not compromise her authority or self-respect. Men feel this balance deeply because it signals emotional mastery and maturity. It reassures them that the woman they are drawn to is whole, capable, and intentional in her life and relationships. Confidence is ultimately contagious through words. When a woman speaks with unwavering self-assurance, she inspires respect, admiration, and desire. Men are drawn to what they perceive as whole and complete, and language is one of the most immediate indicators of that completeness. It is not just what is said, it is the energy behind it, the unspoken message that she values herself, understands her boundaries, and navigates life with clarity and purpose. Every word, every pause, every subtle inflection communicates this truth. Men are not simply listening to content, they are feeling the embodiment of confidence through language, experiencing the magnetic pull of someone who has mastered herself, who has cultivated presence, and whose words are reflections of a powerful, unwavering inner certainty. Clarity in speech is one of the most subtle yet powerful tools a high-value woman possesses. It is not about speaking more or impressing with eloquence. It is about speaking with precision, intention, and unmistakable purpose. Every word carries meaning, every pause carries weight, and every statement communicates a layer of identity, values, and self-awareness. When a woman speaks with clarity, she leaves no room for confusion, second-guessing, or misinterpretation, and this precision is profoundly magnetic to men. It signals emotional maturity, decisiveness, and inner stability, qualities that men instinctively respect and are drawn to. Desire is not born merely from beauty or charm. It is cultivated through the unmistakable presence of someone who knows exactly who she is, what she wants, and how to express it without compromise or hesitation. High-value women understand that clarity is an act of self-respect. To speak clearly is to honor one's own time, energy, and values. It communicates that she is not available to be misled, distracted, or manipulated. Men feel this immediately because the confidence behind clear communication radiates certainty and authority. It is a silent signal that this woman navigates her life with focus, that she has boundaries, that she values herself, and that she does not need validation or reassurance to justify her choices. When a man encounters such clarity, he is drawn in not out of fear, but out of admiration and the desire to rise to the standard she sets effortlessly. Clarity also creates desire because it fosters emotional safety. When a woman articulates her thoughts, feelings, and intentions with precision, men feel understood and guided rather than overwhelmed. They do not need to decode hidden meanings, navigate confusion, or guess at expectations. This transparency is liberating, but it also stimulates pursuit because it frames the relationship or interaction in terms of respect, challenge, and mutual recognition. High-value women do not confuse or overcomplicate. They provide a path for connection that is engaging yet non-needy. Their clarity inspires curiosity because it invites men to meet them where they are, to engage with their depth, and to appreciate the integrity of their communication. Moreover, clarity in speech reflects clarity in thought. High-value women think before they speak. They process emotions, intentions, and insights internally, filtering them through a lens of self-awareness and discernment. This internal clarity manifests outwardly in language that is structured, coherent, and intentional. Men are drawn to this because it signals intelligence and emotional maturity. They recognize, even subconsciously, that someone who can articulate herself with precision is capable of navigating life's complexities with grace and composure. Her words are not just sounds, they are expressions of a mind and spirit that are aligned, capable, and self-possessed. Clarity also communicates power subtly. A high-value woman does not need to explain herself repeatedly, beg for understanding, or embellish her statements to make them convincing. When she speaks clearly, her words stand on their own authority. This effortless communication creates intrigue because men recognize that the woman they are engaging with is unshakable, grounded, and intentional. She commands respect not through dominance, but through the unmistakable certainty embedded in every syllable. Each statement becomes an invitation to engage with her world on her terms, and the challenge of rising to that clarity is inherently alluring. Another dimension of clarity that fuels desire is its ability to create structure in relationships and interactions. High-value women articulate expectations, intentions, and boundaries in ways that are direct yet graceful. When a woman communicates her values, desires, or limits clearly, she eliminates ambiguity while simultaneously sparking engagement. Men are attracted to this because it allows them to understand what is real, what is wanted, and what is respected, which in turn fosters the desire to align, to pursue, and to earn connection. Ambiguity can create frustration, tension, and disinterest, but clarity provides a framework where desire can flourish naturally and purposefully. Clarity is not rigid, it is adaptive. A high-value woman knows how to speak clearly in every context, whether in vulnerability, assertiveness, seduction, or casual conversation. Her words resonate because they are aligned with her emotional state, her intention, and the energy she wishes to convey. Men are drawn to this authenticity because it is rare and refreshing. It signals that she is not performing or masking her truth. Every phrase, whether playful, serious, or intimate, reflects coherence between thought and expression, between heart and mind, and this congruence amplifies attraction because it communicates wholeness and emotional integrity. Clarity also heightens anticipation. By articulating desires, boundaries, or expectations concisely, a high-value woman stirs curiosity and intrigue rather than draining interest with over-explanation. She knows what to say, how much to reveal, and when to pause. Men sense this intentionality and are drawn to explore deeper layers of her personality, to understand her world, and to seek the moments that are not immediately given. Clear communication does not remove mystery, it sharpens it because it distinguishes what is real, what is valuable, and what requires effort and attention to uncover. Finally, clarity fosters a deep sense of respect. Men admire a woman who does not compromise her thoughts, her voice, or her presence for approval. They are inspired by the elegance of her expression, by the way her words reflect her self-possession, and by the effortless magnetism of someone who communicates from a place of certainty. This respect fuels desire because men instinctively seek what is authentic, aligned, and powerful. Clarity in speech is a reflection of a clear mind, a secure heart, and an unshakable sense of self, and these qualities combine to create a presence that is not merely attractive, but unforgettable. Silence is one of the most underestimated tools a high-value woman can wield. While many believe that influence and attraction come solely from words, the truth is that silence carries an equal, if not greater, weight. It is the invisible force that frames speech, amplifies intention, and commands attention without demanding it. A woman who understands the power of silence does not rush to fill gaps in conversation, does not over-explain, and does not seek constant validation. She allows space to exist because she knows that what is unsaid can often speak louder than what is spoken. Men are instinctively drawn to this because silence creates curiosity, intrigue, and a subtle tension that pulls them forward. It is in these quiet moments that desire deepens, attention sharpens, and the perception of value becomes undeniable. Silence reflects self-possession. When a high-value woman chooses not to respond immediately, when she allows a pause to linger, she communicates confidence without uttering a single word. Men sense this, even subconsciously, because it signals control, calmness, and emotional stability. There is a magnetism in someone who is unshaken by the need to fill space or appease others with constant speech. Her quiet conveys that she is centered, whole, and at ease with herself. It is not an absence of communication, but a deliberate statement of presence. This kind of power is subtle yet intoxicating because it creates a sense of depth and complexity, a feeling that there is more to her than what meets the ear, and men are naturally drawn to explore what is concealed. The strategic use of silence also amplifies the meaning of words when they are eventually spoken. Every phrase a high-value woman delivers after a pause carries extra weight because it has been framed by intentional quiet. Men pay closer attention, listen more deeply, and internalize her words more fully. The energy behind speech becomes more potent when it is measured and deliberate. Silence acts as a magnifying lens, allowing every declaration, observation, or question to resonate with authority and authenticity. It communicates that her words are not casual or trivial, they are considered meaningful and worthy of attention. Men recognize this distinction instinctively and respond with heightened interest, engagement, and emotional investment. Silence also fosters curiosity, which is a key element of attraction. When a high-value woman does not reveal everything at once, when she allows mystery to linger in conversations, men are compelled to lean in, to pay attention, and to seek understanding. They are drawn to the challenge of reading her, of interpreting her intentions, and of earning the deeper layers of her presence. The restraint demonstrated through silence communicates that she is not available at every moment, that she values herself, and that connection is something to be pursued rather than assumed. This dynamic naturally increases desire because it introduces tension and anticipation, two forces that are powerful in human attraction. Another aspect of silence as power is emotional regulation. High-value women understand that speaking in the heat of emotion can diminish authority and cloud perception. Instead of reacting immediately to frustration, disappointment, or provocation, they allow silence to create space for clarity. This measured approach signals emotional mastery, self-control, and maturity, qualities that men instinctively find irresistible. Silence becomes a shield, a tool for observation, and a mechanism for maintaining dignity in every interaction. Men are drawn to this not because it distances them, but because it communicates that she is steady, grounded, and capable of handling life and relationships with composure. Silence is also a reflection of boundaries. High-value women do not feel obligated to explain themselves constantly, to justify their actions, or to placate others with endless words. By choosing when to speak and when to remain silent, they convey that their presence and opinions are valuable and not to be taken for granted. Men sense this as strength, not as rejection, and it naturally enhances attraction because it creates an unspoken hierarchy of respect. Silence communicates self-worth more effectively than words often can, and it ensures that when a woman does speak, her voice is received as significant, intentional, and impactful. The strategic pauses in conversation also serve to highlight listening and observation. A woman who listens deeply, who absorbs the energy, intentions, and emotions of those around her, demonstrates presence through quiet. Men are drawn to this attentiveness because it signals understanding, empathy, and engagement without neediness. It allows them to feel seen and heard while simultaneously reinforcing the perception of her power. Her silence is not emptiness, it is active, deliberate, and filled with awareness. It communicates that she is fully in command of herself and the space around her, and that her engagement is thoughtful, measured, and meaningful. Even in moments of intimacy or flirtation, silence can heighten emotional connection and attraction. A high-value woman uses pauses to create anticipation, to let emotions linger, and to give space for desire to grow. She understands that every interaction is a dance between presence and absence, revelation and mystery. Men are drawn to this tension because it makes connection feel earned, significant, and electrifying. The power of silence lies in its ability to evoke response without force, to elicit pursuit without demand, and to create resonance without excess. Silence also cultivates self-reflection and awareness, qualities that deepen attraction over time. When a woman does not rush to respond, when she allows thoughtfulness to guide her speech, she signals intelligence, wisdom, and depth. Men are naturally drawn to women who seem to carry layers of understanding, insight, and emotional sophistication because these qualities inspire respect, admiration, and desire. The quiet between words becomes a space for reflection, both for her and for those listening, fostering a dynamic where presence, energy, and curiosity are heightened simultaneously. Words have the power to reach far beyond surface conversation. They are not merely vehicles for information, but instruments capable of shaping emotions, forming bonds, and creating intimacy. A high-value woman understands this truth intuitively. She knows that the right combination of words, spoken with intention and presence, can open doors to the heart, evoke deep feelings, and forge connections that are remembered long after the conversation ends. Men are drawn to this because it awakens a primal desire to connect, to understand, and to be understood. Emotional connection is not built through superficial small talk or casual compliments. It is cultivated deliberately through language that resonates, reflects authenticity, and touches the core of one's being. High-value women communicate in a way that evokes curiosity and engagement. They share thoughts, perspectives, and experiences that are genuine without oversharing or seeking validation. Their words are carefully crafted to create resonance, to spark reflection, and to awaken interest. Men are instinctively drawn to this because it signals depth, intelligence, and self-awareness. When a woman speaks with this kind of emotional clarity, her words do more than convey meaning, they create a sense of being seen, acknowledged, and understood. It is a rare quality, and it generates a magnetic pull that goes beyond physical attraction, building connection that is felt as much as it is heard. One of the most potent aspects of emotionally connective speech is vulnerability. High-value women understand that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a demonstration of strength, authenticity, and trust. Sharing a personal story, expressing a genuine feeling, or articulating a subtle desire, all done with composure and confidence, invites others into a space of empathy and emotional resonance. Men respond to this openness instinctively because it allows them to feel needed, appreciated, and capable of meaningful contribution to the emotional landscape she creates. It is not about burdening someone with neediness, but about demonstrating authenticity, showing that her heart is present, and subtly encouraging reciprocation without force. Empathy is another key element in words that trigger emotional connection. High-value women listen as intently as they speak, tailoring their responses to the emotional state of the person they are engaging with. They mirror understanding, validate feelings, and offer insight without judgment. Their words carry nuance, warmth, and attentiveness, signaling that they are fully present in the interaction. Men are irresistibly drawn to this because it fosters safety, trust, and intimacy. It communicates that she is attuned not just to herself but to the world around her, that she recognizes emotions, and that she is capable of holding space for another person without losing her own sense of self. Subtlety in language amplifies emotional connection. High-value women understand that not every emotion or desire needs to be articulated directly. Instead, they use suggestion, metaphor, tone, and cadence to convey depth. A word, a pause, or a carefully framed question can evoke curiosity, longing, and reflection. Men are naturally intrigued by this subtlety because it engages the mind as well as the heart. It challenges them to think, to feel, and to respond, creating an interactive emotional bond that is far more compelling than explicit or forceful communication. Every sentence becomes a dance between revelation and mystery, intimacy and distance, invitation and restraint. Storytelling is another technique that high-value women use to forge connection. By sharing experiences, whether personal, philosophical, or observational, they provide insight into their values, beliefs, and emotional world. Stories allow men to glimpse the layers of her personality, to see her intellect, her sensitivity, and her perspective on life. Words chosen with clarity and intention in storytelling create empathy and resonance. Men are drawn to this because it allows them to step into her world, to experience her reality, and to feel connected on a deeper level. Emotional bonds grow stronger when language transcends surface level conversation and touches universal experiences, shared human feelings, and the subtle nuances of thought and emotion. Humor and lightness also play a critical role in emotionally connective speech. High-value women know how to balance depth with playfulness. A witty remark, a playful tease, or a gentle joke can break tension, create shared laughter, and foster closeness without sacrificing dignity or authenticity. Men respond to this because it communicates intelligence, social awareness, and emotional agility. Words that elicit genuine smiles or laughter form positive associations, reinforce attraction, and deepen the sense of connection by creating moments of joy and ease in addition to intensity and reflection. Timing and rhythm are equally essential. Words that trigger emotional connection are not always constant or abundant. They are measured, intentional, and paced. High-value women know when to speak and when to allow silence to carry the weight of interaction. The ebb and flow of conversation, punctuated by strategic pauses and intentional emphasis, allows men to fully absorb, reflect, and respond to her words. This rhythm communicates presence, awareness, and control, while simultaneously inviting engagement. It creates a dynamic where words are not just heard, they are felt, remembered, and internalized. Finally, emotionally connective language is anchored in authenticity. High-value women do not manipulate or perform. They speak from a place of truth, aligning their words with their values, emotions, and intentions. Every phrase reflects the integrity of their inner world, which is a powerful signal of reliability, self-possession, and emotional intelligence. Men are drawn to this authenticity instinctively because it fosters trust, respect, and desire. When words are grounded in genuine emotional experience, they become more than communication, they become a bridge, a magnet, and a conduit for deep and lasting connection. Boundaries are one of the most powerful yet understated aspects of attraction. They are the invisible lines that define respect, self-worth, and the space one occupies in the world. High-value women understand that boundaries are not barriers to connection, but essential signals of dignity, clarity, and self-possession. Communicating boundaries through speech is an art, a deliberate practice that conveys strength without aggression, firmness without harshness, and self-respect without arrogance. Men are instinctively drawn to women who articulate boundaries with confidence because it signals emotional intelligence, personal sovereignty, and an inner stability that cannot be swayed by fleeting desires or manipulation. Words become the tools through which these boundaries are expressed, not as demands or ultimatums, but as elegant declarations of identity and intention. High-value women communicate boundaries with clarity. Their statements are direct, precise, and free from ambiguity. When they say, "This is important to me," or "I do not engage in this behavior," it is understood immediately and felt deeply. Men sense the authority in these words because they are anchored in self-awareness rather than fear or insecurity. There is no hesitation, no over-apologizing, and no attempt to soften the message to gain approval. The impact comes not from force, but from the confidence that arises naturally when a woman respects herself enough to define her limits clearly. This clarity in communication ensures that interactions are guided by mutual respect rather than uncertainty, and it is this framework that cultivates attraction, admiration, and emotional investment. The tone of voice used to communicate boundaries is equally important. High-value women do not need to raise their voices, repeat themselves excessively, or plead to be heard. They speak with calm authority, measured cadence, and intention. This subtlety amplifies the weight of their words, conveying power without aggression. Men are drawn to this type of speech because it demonstrates that she is in control, emotionally stable, and confident in her convictions. The tone signals that her boundaries are non-negotiable, not out of rigidity, but out of an unwavering sense of self, which naturally inspires respect and desire. Boundaries communicated through speech are not limited to refusal or denial. They are also about expressing expectations and values. High-value women articulate what they accept, encourage, or appreciate in others. For example, stating, "I value honesty and directness," or "I prioritize my time and energy carefully," communicates more than a preference. It signals a self-aware framework of living and relating. Men are drawn to this because it provides a clear map of interaction, offering insight into what is meaningful, significant, and worth investing in. It establishes a space where connection is possible but must be earned and respected, creating a dynamic where pursuit is motivated by admiration rather than entitlement. Emotional regulation is a core component of boundary communication. High-value women do not communicate boundaries in moments of anger, frustration, or defensiveness. They wait until their emotions are steady, their perspective is clear, and their intention is aligned with self-respect rather than reaction. Words delivered from this grounded state carry authority, resonance, and emotional integrity. Men respond instinctively to this kind of speech because it signals that the woman is mature, self-aware, and capable of maintaining composure in challenging situations. Boundaries spoken in this manner are not reactive or defensive. They are expressions of a conscious and intentional life. Boundaries also intersect with self-worth. High-value women communicate them in ways that implicitly declare value, showing that they will not compromise on what matters to them for temporary gain, fear of loss, or external pressure. Phrases like, "I am not available for disrespectful behavior," or "I honor my time and energy first," are not confrontational, they are statements of principle. Men perceive this as strength because it demonstrates that the woman is grounded in her identity, has a sense of purpose, and prioritizes her well-being. The allure of such communication lies in its rarity. It is a reflection of someone who has cultivated self-possession and does not settle for anything less than respect and alignment. High-value women also use language to teach rather than punish when setting boundaries. They frame statements in ways that are constructive, guiding, and clear. For example, instead of accusing or blaming, they might say, "I feel respected when you communicate openly," rather than "you are disrespectful." This approach conveys their standards without hostility, encouraging understanding, cooperation, and engagement. Men are drawn to this because it fosters connection and mutual growth. It demonstrates that boundaries are not rigid walls but flexible guidelines rooted in self-respect, integrity, and clarity of intention. The strategic use of silence often accompanies spoken boundaries. A high-value woman knows that after she asserts a boundary, she does not need to continue explaining, negotiating, or justifying herself. The pause that follows is deliberate, allowing her words to resonate and giving space for the listener to reflect. Men sense this space as a demonstration of power and composure. It is a signal that the boundary is not up for debate, that her presence is whole and undiluted, and that engagement with her requires alignment with her standards. Silence reinforces the impact of speech, enhancing the magnetic pull of a woman who communicates boundaries with poise and self-assurance. Humor and subtlety can also reinforce boundaries when used wisely. High-value women are capable of expressing limits with grace, wit, or gentle teasing, which softens tension while maintaining authority. This style signals confidence and emotional intelligence. Men respond positively to this because it demonstrates that the woman is secure, approachable, and in control, able to balance firmness with charm. Boundaries do not become sources of conflict. They become markers of self-respect, elegance, and emotional sophistication. Ultimately, boundaries communicated through speech create a dynamic of mutual respect, emotional safety, and desire. They signal that the woman is aligned with herself, understands her worth, and will not compromise her standards for fleeting approval or validation. Men are drawn to this clarity and strength instinctively because it evokes admiration, inspires pursuit, and fosters connection on deeper levels. Words become instruments of empowerment, shaping interactions, relationships, and attraction with precision, intention, and authority. Playfulness and mystery are among the most subtle yet irresistible qualities a high-value woman can embody. They are not superficial tricks or manipulations. They are conscious expressions of depth, confidence, and emotional intelligence. Playfulness engages the mind, stirs curiosity, and invites connection without pressure. Mystery cultivates intrigue, fosters anticipation, and signals that there is more beneath the surface than what is immediately visible. When a woman blends these qualities seamlessly into her speech, her presence becomes magnetic. Men are drawn instinctively to this combination because it creates a dynamic of fascination and desire, a balance between challenge and accessibility, a rhythm that engages their attention, sparks their imagination, and encourages pursuit. Playfulness begins with tune. A high-value woman does not take herself too seriously in every moment. She allows humor, wit, and lightheartedness to infuse her words, not as a performance but as an expression of her natural energy and joy. A well-timed tease, a clever observation, or a playful challenge conveys intelligence, confidence, and charm simultaneously. Men are drawn to this because it creates a dynamic of fun and spontaneity, making interactions enjoyable and memorable. Playfulness signals that she is comfortable with herself, secure in her identity, and capable of bringing levity and energy into any situation without diminishing her authority or value. Mystery, on the other hand, is rooted in intentional restraint. High-value women understand that not everything needs to be revealed at once, that withholding certain details or emotions strategically enhances intrigue rather than creating confusion. She may share a glimpse of a thought, a subtle hint of a feeling, or a partial story that invites curiosity and encourages deeper engagement. Men are drawn to this because it stimulates their imagination, activates pursuit, and creates a sense of wonder. Mystery does not mean secrecy for its own sake. It is the art of revealing oneself in layers, allowing others to earn understanding while maintaining a sense of autonomy and self-possession. The combination of playfulness and mystery works because it balances accessibility with challenge. Playfulness draws men in, making interactions engaging, enjoyable, and emotionally stimulating. Mystery holds them, compelling them to pay attention, explore, and invest effort to understand more deeply. Men are naturally attracted to women who present both light and depth, who offer moments of laughter alongside the promise of insight, who balance the ease of approach with the allure of the unknown. This duality keeps attention focused, desire alive, and connection dynamic. High-value women also use playfulness and mystery to guide emotional energy. Through subtle humor or teasing, they can diffuse tension, redirect conversation, or create rapport without manipulation or neediness. Mystery, when applied thoughtfully, cultivates anticipation and keeps interactions fresh and engaging. Men respond positively because these qualities signal intelligence, emotional sophistication, and mastery over social dynamics. They sense that she is intentional in her words, aware of her effect, and capable of managing interactions without compromising her authenticity or presence. Playfulness and mystery also communicate confidence. A woman who can joke lightly, tease thoughtfully, and reveal herself selectively demonstrates comfort with herself and her environment. She is not desperate for approval, nor is she constrained by fear of judgment. Her playfulness is rooted in joy, curiosity, and self-possession, while her mystery reflects self-respect, boundaries, and emotional depth. Men are drawn to these qualities because they indicate a person who is complete and autonomous, someone whose attention is not easily captured, whose presence must be appreciated, and whose engagement must be earned. In conversation, playfulness can take many forms: a witty remark, a humorous challenge, or a playful question. It engages the intellect, sparks laughter, and creates an energetic dynamic that draws men into her orbit. Mystery complements this by introducing subtle restraint. She does not over-explain. She does not reveal her entire perspective immediately, and she allows moments of silence or ambiguity to linger. Men are stimulated by this dynamic tension between the known and the unknown, between amusement and intrigue, because it creates emotional and intellectual engagement simultaneously. Mystery is also deeply tied to authenticity. A high-value woman does not pretend to be elusive. Her mystery arises naturally from her self-possession and the conscious choice to reveal herself in layers. Men are drawn to this because it feels organic, not performative. They sense that she is genuinely whole, that her presence carries depth, and that understanding her requires attentiveness, effort, and appreciation. This type of mystery is magnetic because it aligns with human desire for challenge, novelty, and meaningful connection. Playfulness and mystery also influence attraction by shaping the pace and rhythm of interaction. A playful tone can create spontaneity, unpredictability, and delight, while the introduction of mystery slows down the process of understanding, encouraging attention, curiosity, and pursuit. Together, they form a delicate balance. A high-value woman does not need to chase or convince. She engages and captivates naturally, drawing men into her energy, her presence, and her world. The interplay between laughter, intrigue, and subtle restraint keeps interactions dynamic, memorable, and deeply compelling. Even in moments of emotional intensity or intimacy, playfulness and mystery remain powerful. A light-hearted comment can ease tension, while a hint of mystery can sustain interest and anticipation. High-value women know when to mix humor with depth, teasing with authenticity, and revelation with restraint. Men respond to this combination instinctively because it signals emotional intelligence, autonomy, and a rich inner world. Words are not merely informative. They become instruments of influence, connection, and attraction, capable of shaping desire while maintaining dignity, respect, and presence.